All right, what's going on, everybody? This is episode number 15 of First and Framerates. I am Virtual Footballer, and we're back again. And you know who is my co-host? It is Bills. Let everybody know what's up, man.
Chilling, man. Watching some football and just resting after a decent day at work. And we got some great topics as usual to hop in on.
Yeah, you know how it is. We always try to jump into stuff, sports and gaming and all this other stuff. So how was your weekend so far?
It's been good, man. I got to watch the Wilder fight as well as GSP choke that bitch Michael Bisping out. Um, I don't like Michael Bisping at all. But yeah, it was a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of UFC, and I don't know who. I don't follow UFC. You already know I don't. And I watched it a little bit, and like that bald-headed chick like beat the shit out the other girl. I don't even know her name, but I mean that bald-headed chick like knocked her ass out, and that shit was cool.
Oh hell yeah!
So I mean, what's her name? I don't know her.
So Joanna, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I honestly don't know the bald chick's name either. But I knew she was good. I just never remember her name offhand. But I watched it at Hooters, and people were shocked. Like,
Yeah, that's what I said. I saw the
yeah.
reaction on Twitter, and everybody was like shocked about it. I was like, I don't know why they shocked. I don't follow it, so I don't know. All I know is, I mean, I look up because I'm sitting here, I'm playing the game on my monitor, and I got the TV running. I happen to look up, and she just give the girl a left hook and just knocked her ass clean out. And I was like, whoa, what, who's this? And then all of a sudden, I'm listening to her speak, and she's telling everybody to be a better person and be a good person. How you gonna tell somebody to be a good person and you being a badass knocking people out?
I mean, she gets paid to do that though.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want her to hit me though, but still.
I mean, yeah, Joanna was she was looked at as one of the unbeatable champions. So when she lost, it was pretty shocking.
Yeah, like Ronda.
Well, I mean, Ronda's different because everybody knew her ass was one dimensional. But
Yeah. But anyway, for me this weekend, me and the wife went out and went out of town. I went to Georgia Southern game.
What's up?
It felt good to be back home and be back at the old stomping grounds. The stadium has changed a lot since I played there. I mean, when I was pointing stuff out to my wife, and I was like, this wasn't here, that wasn't there. We didn't have an upper level. We only could hold 7,000 seats. I mean, we were small. We were basically a small football. Well, not a small football program, but we're a small school. We have a big football program, but I mean, I'm looking at it this year, and I see what was the real problem with Georgia Southern. I mean, it's very uncanny. We won 6 national titles, but at the same time, we're 0-7 this year, and I see why we're 0-7. The defense is fine. The offense played very well. I mean, they look pretty good. We don't have a quarterback. I mean, this dude can literally, I mean, even my wife noticed it. He can't throw past 15 yards. And the one time he did, he looked like he struggled throwing that ball, but it was a good throw. He can't do it consistently, and he can't make reads. So it's something that they really need to look into in the offseason as far as anything. First and foremost, they need to recruit a quarterback. I think the rest of the team is okay. We do have holes in the secondary, but I mean, everybody on the team is not going to be on point. I mean, no team is perfect. So you're going to give up some plays, but for the fact that you see what's really the big problem, you're talking about a situation where we could have had at least 21 extra points if the quarterback knew how to throw the ball, and that's significant. But it was fun to be there. I didn't see anybody that I knew. It's been almost 10 years since I've been out of college, so it's different, but the atmosphere is still the same. I mean, everything was great, and it seemed like they're in the right direction as far as having a good atmosphere. But they really need to. I say next year, since they fired the coach, next year they really need to turn things around, or it's going to set back a really prestigious football program.
Right.
So, it was fun, and I do plan on trying to go to other games in the future because it looks like they don't need my support, but it's good to support.
Right.
But
no,
like I said, the entire experience was great. My wife, that's her second time going to a big time sports event. I mean, I took her to an Atlanta Hawks game a few years ago. She went to this college game this year. Now she wants to go to an NFL game, so that's going to be next on the list. just don't know when because the Falcons suck right now. I don't get it. I just
Shit, well, you need to take her then, because those tickets will be fucking
yeah,
low as hell.
but we don't want to go to a game to see a team fuck up and lose a game. I'd rather see them give.
Hey, man,
I'd rather
I,
see them give an effort and lose instead of just going to see a bad game. At
I
least,
feel you.
at least when we was at Georgia Southern, those guys gave effort. I
I
mean,
feel you,
right,
but when I
man.
used to go watch the Celtics, I used to go watch players that were coming to play the Celtics. I would never come and watch the Celtics because they were ass. But I mean, you going to see professionals play, and you get to see a player on the road that is really good. So I mean,
The
you
only
still win.
the only way I would do that if the Falcons played the Broncos at home because that's my wife's favorite team.
Yeah,
I would
okay.
do it for that. But I'm not going just to see them play, let's say, the Vikings or something. I'm not doing that. I mean, maybe if Dalvin Cook was playing, maybe. But nah, I'm not doing that. But anyway, speaking of football, we don't have like a set row of topics because
Mm-mm.
the, you know, all things considered as far as sports and sports gaming is been all over the place the past week and a half, but we are going to start with the most interesting thing that we think is interesting is the college standings and the plight of college football right now. It looks like it's very interesting with all the games that's been going on and the teams that have been playing.
Definitely.
Yeah, give us your take on what's going on so far. We're a little bit more than halfway through the season.
Um, I'm liking college football this year. Um, I think it's better to go into the playoff without really knowing who the powerhouse is and the designated favorite, because even though everybody likes to choose Alabama every year, Alabama has flaws this year, including their one-dimensional quarterback, their lackluster running game, etc., etc. So I'm looking at it. I see Notre Dame here. Notre Dame is probably the most complete team in the country for my money.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Oklahoma can put up a hell of a lot of points, but they need to patch up that defense because they kind of played into Oklahoma State's, game plan by putting up all them points, and they couldn't really stop a nosebleed. Wisconsin always seems to suffer a letdown, so I can't even really put much stock into them.
I mean, that's a
But,
team. That's a team. Wisconsin is a team that I can't really figure out. I don't know if they're
mhm.
9-0 is for real or is it
Right.
fake. I just
That's what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. Yeah, so it's like it's going to be interesting. Clemson, haven't watched them, so I can't really speak on it. And then Georgia, I think is the second most complete team in the country. I think they're going to beat Alabama's ass when they play them.
I can
And
agree with that
yeah,
too. And like I said, with Notre Dame and Georgia, like to me, I wouldn't even be mad if you flip Notre Dame and Georgia as the most complete team. I mean, I've seen both of them
nah,
play,
yeah,
and I've seen them play against each other. I mean, it was a 20-19 game, and Georgia came out on top, and it was like. Oh, it was a really good game between the two. Probably one of the best, real fundamental football type games this year because both teams went at each other and they kept it low scoring. It was ups and downs, and I'm not talking about one of these college ups and downs where oh my god this team scored and another team scored. You were looking at two teams that are really trying to beat each other, not only just on the scoreboard but just mano and mano. They were actually playing good football. So
hmm
that was those two teams are really compelling. I would not be surprised maybe down the road if you was to see a national championship game between those two. But right now they're I don't know what the playoff standing is right now. Let me look at it right here.
I'll
Like right
tell you
now, yeah,
what.
right now is Georgia number one. They will play
hmm
Clemson first, and Notre Dame and Alabama be 2 and 3 play against. So I mean, it's a possibility if things stand the way they are. I would not be surprised if they play against each other in the national championship. And like I said, for me personally, and I'm a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, I'm very impressed how both teams played. If you really want to give me two teams that are really impressed me, is those two, and I will give a knock to Miami as well. Nobody's really talking about Miami low key, but they're really dangerous as well.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Miami. Miami got a lot of athletes as usual, but it seems like they're getting back to old school Miami type football, hard nosed football. They got really good athletes that can collapse on the ball like they used to have, and they got guys that make big plays. And in college football, that wins games.
And that goes all
So
the way that
yeah,
goes all the way back to the coach. Mark Richt is a
mm-hmm.
great coach. I mean,
Hell yeah,
he's one of the best ones that didn't win a national championship. I've seen him play. I mean, seen him coach in Georgia, and he always got Georgia right to the edge.
mm-hmm.
And it's like he's bringing that same philosophy back to Miami because I mean he's from Miami, so it was just a fit for him to go back down there and coach. And it's like he's got those players playing at that level, and Miami is just a hotbed for talent, and it's like a match made in heaven for them. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, like you said, the Miami, Alabama. I mean, I'm sorry, my Notre Dame, Georgia national. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami and Georgia end up playing at the end because you look at the paths of all these teams. Georgia and Alabama is going to have to play each other in the
Yep.
SEC championship. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, with the two running backs and Jake Fromm is actually a pretty good throwing quarterback. A lot of people say, "Oh, he can't throw. He can't throw." Well,
Right.
he lit it up against Florida for even though he only threw four passes, all four passes were bombs. And in South Carolina, and you already know how I feel about South Carolina. They
Mm-hmm.
started talking shit about he can't throw the ball, and all he did was throw for like 16 for 22 for almost 300 yards or something like that.
Right.
So you got a quarterback that's a true freshman that can throw like that, two good stud running backs, and the defense of Georgia is not that good. But one thing that they do, they tackle. And
Mm-hmm.
they're the one. They're probably the best tackling team in all of college football. Because when they grab you, you go down.
Hell
And
yeah.
that right there is something so small and fundamental in football, but it weighs a lot in field position and time of possession. Because if you can tackle somebody immediately, that stops first downs. That stops them moving the ball up the field. And I haven't seen any other team that was able to honestly tackle like Georgia. I think Notre Dame is pretty good at it too, and maybe Clemson, but I haven't watched Clemson. But Clemson always had a pedigree of really good defensive players. But when
I'll
you
tell you an issue I have with this top. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no,
I'll
go
tell
ahead,
you
go
an
ahead.
issue I
You
have
good.
with this top 25. How in the fuck is Ohio State above Penn State when Ohio State just got blown out by a team that Penn State beat in Iowa?
Are you talking about the playoff top 25 or the AP
I'm
top
talking
25?
about the AP top 25.
Okay, let me click over there and look. Let me see.
Because the AP top 25 has. Let me look
Yeah, it has
back.
Ohio State number 11 in the AP.
And they got Penn State
16.
16.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Like, where is this hate for Penn State coming from? Ohio State plays a weak ass schedule. They lose most of their conference
Hold
games
up.
every fucking year against any of the big time schools.
Hold up. Didn't Ohio State just like give up like 50 something points or
50
something?
to Iowa, yeah.
Oh my lord.
And they're come on, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh my god, I can't stand how hyped Ohio State is every year. The quarterback is ass. I don't know why people are still saying he's in the running for a Heisman. He threw 4 picks yesterday.
Absolutely not. Not a Heisman candidate. I don't see that.
I mean, they're above USC. They're above Michigan State. They're above Oklahoma State, who just gave Oklahoma a run for their money. Like, come on, man. This poll is ridiculous once you start getting down, like, past TCU.
Yeah, I can agree. And I can make a case where Washington should be above TCU.
I agree.
I can make a case for that. And I'm looking at UCF. I mean, even though they don't play anybody, because they're just. I mean, it's no fault of their own. They're in the conference that they're in.
Right.
I mean, you can make a case where they could be higher than Ohio State just for the fact that they're undefeated.
Man, Ohio State should be in the 20s somewhere. I'm sorry.
'Cause
they lost to Oklahoma early in the year. They got blown out.
And that's another thing. Why? I think the love for Miami is not enough. I think they could be a little higher too at number 7.
I agree, but now I'm looking at USC. They lost to Washington State 30-27.
Okay.
And then they lost to Notre Dame 49-14 at Notre Dame. But
They should be.
I mean,
They should. I think they should be
Yeah.
lower because of the Notre Dame loss. I mean,
the Notre Dame loss was a bad one.
yeah, it was a bad loss. That's why. I mean, the Washington State one, they're 19. Washington State is low key pretty good, and they only lost by 3. I won't hold that against USC, but the
Damn good football coach there too.
yeah, I mean, Well, I remember Washington State was pretty bad about 3, 4 years ago.
They
Yeah,
were. I think. What's his name? Mike Leach.
yeah, yeah, and then, turning around, he did it. He gets a lot of credit for that. So
Hmm.
I think right now, as far as the quality of college football, how do you rank that compared to like most of the NFL, for instance? Or how do you rank that compared?
Um,
Do you think it's more of the same, or you think they're slightly above?
I would say. I would say, as far as having high profile games and quality football being played, I would say I would give NCAA a slight edge. We haven't had too many big matchups so far in the NFL, and the one that we did have, the Falcons and the Pats rematch, was pretty
Yeah,
much a
that
wash.
was terrible. I ain't gonna say it was.
Um,
It was a bad
right.
game because I mean Atlanta, and we'll talk about this later.
Hmm.
They, I, I've come to the conclusion to where I think the offensive coordinator pretty much sabotaged the team. But
Yeah,
we'll get into that later.
yeah, because I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, okay, what's the best college football game I've seen this year? I would say Penn State and Iowa. When I think what's the best NFL game I've seen this year, I think the Packers and the Cowboys. So when I think of it in that light, they're pretty even because that Packers and Cowboys game was really good.
Yeah,
It's just I feel like overall the teams, like the games that you watch on Saturdays, are a bit better than some of these weeks we've seen in the NFL because some of these weeks in the NFL have just not been too good on the field. It's either been blowouts, and there were a lot of blowouts today. I mean, you had two teams put up 51 points, I think, on the road.
yeah,
Well, nah, Philly put up 51 at home, but
yeah,
the
but
Rams put up 51 on the
yeah, and
road against the.
we're gonna talk about the Rams later on too because I'm fairly impressed with them right now. But um,
Yeah.
go ahead and finish. 'Cause I'm gonna give you my take on the comparisons.
But nah, yeah. So I mean, the NFL's definitely picked up, but I think college football has been consistent throughout. So I got to give the edge to college football so far.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like you said, the Penn State Iowa game, yes, that was a good game. Another
Hmm.
good game that was not a blowout, but it was a little bit handled pretty well. The Oklahoma Ohio State game was a really good game.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it was a great matchup early on.
yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of got away from Ohio State at the end, but overall it was an entertaining game. And the Notre Dame Georgia game was a really good game. You're talking
Hmm.
about 20-19, real close game all the way through.
Yep.
And even with some of the games that Alabama played, because I guess when you look at Alabama, you think of a team that's dominant, but their
Hmm.
games were fairly close, so they kept it entertaining. But like
Right.
you said, with the NFL, you just have a lot of teams that are just it just seems like a lot of teams,
Inconsistent.
yeah, they're very inconsistent, or you just see some teams that are straight folding in the middle
Yeah.
of games, whereas like some teams are just giving up, or you have situations where bad calls are being made or just poor execution. Like you see much better execution in college than you see in the NFL this year. And
And not to cut you off, but one more thing that you can add is look at the major injuries we've had in the NFL this
mm,
year.
that's another thing. You're
I
exactly right.
mean, J.J. Watt, Odell Beckham, Eric Berry. That was the first week.
Yeah, Eric Berry got
Uh,
hurt.
I mean, I
Yeah,
mean, Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman. You did say J.J. Watt. You also
Yeah.
had Dalvin Cook got hurt.
Yep.
He was doing
Deshaun
good.
Watson now. I
Deshaun
mean,
Watson just got hurt, and he was doing great.
David Johnson hasn't played a game of football yet.
Nope, and Andrew Luck hasn't played either.
Andrew Luck, yeah, he's out for the season. It's like the NFL was set up where like there were going to be a lot of good teams this year. There were going to be like it seemed like for the first time in a long time we were going to see some true parity where it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
you're talking about almost maybe 10 to 15 legit teams. And
right.
I'm not talking about just good. I'm talking about legit teams.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers out for the
He's
year.
another one. We didn't even talk about him exactly.
I
Another one.
mean, so yeah, I think injuries play a big part in that too.
Yeah, like you said, you had about 10 or 15 legit teams that could have been 10 or 15 teams. Well, I'll say about 15 teams that could have been 10-win teams, and that's a lot. But when you look at the scope of the NFL, the talent was spread out very nicely this year, and you just have injuries, and then you have bad play calling, teams aren't
Yep.
executing. It's just it has gone down a little bit. But college football, the way things look, and you look at the top 10 of the college football rankings, every team looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Even some after the top 10. I mean, you
Yep.
looking at like a Michigan State that they still look good. Virginia Tech, even though they lost to Miami, they still look decent. Michigan lost a game or two, they still look good. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have a good bit of teams in the top 25, maybe at least 20 out of the top 25 that are legit teams that can probably, win every game if they weren't playing each other.
Definitely.
So I mean, it's pretty good with college. Like I said, it's a slight edge to them. I do agree with that, and I guess at the end of the day, either way, it's still a good time to watch some football, and everything
Mm-hmm.
is on the up and up as far as entertainment and talent wise. Not so much for the NBA, which we're going to jump into
Oh
that now,
boy.
and let me switch over to my tab and get the NBA one up. And
Man, oh
I'm gonna
man.
let you lead up on that because you're more of the NBA guy than I am.
Um, I don't even know where to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They they're struggling mightily, and obviously it is early in the season, and IT's not playing yet. D Rose has missed a couple games. Wade hasn't really. I think I said no. D Rose, I should say, has missed a couple games. D Wade isn't really performing right now. He also just called out the starters and said, they're starting out games really bad and really slow, despite the fact he asked to be on the bench.
I
So
got
I
a
don't
question. I got a
really
question real
know.
quick. I got a question.
Hmm.
Cleveland played Atlanta today. While LeBron James was doing a jump ball.
Because he started at center.
Oh Lord. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll tell you this
No,
much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nothing. It's not a knock against LeBron. It's
No,
just,
no, yeah, yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, LeBron's good, but he don't need to be there. He don't need to be in no
I,
center. No, not
hey,
he don't need to be there. He don't
I'll
need to
tell
be in
you
that position.
this. Tyronn Lue gonna get his ass fired if he keep messing around trying to switch these lineups up every 2 seconds. Everybody's talking about Tristan Thompson struggling. It's because they're trying to go small ball every 2 seconds the way they're playing with Jay Crowder at the 4 and, Kevin Love at the 5. That shit don't work. They can't stop a nosebleed right now.
Nah, that's
LeBron had to score
seven the other night.
57 to beat Washington, and that was just on pure will and just greatness alone that he even had them in that game. I mean, the Cavaliers are struggling. They're 4-6. They haven't played anybody of any consequence yet besides the Celtics, and they beat them. It's all very perplexing to me. And I'm sure they'll get it figured out. Maybe it'll take IT to come back to get it figured out. Who knows? All I can tell you is Tyronn Lue's going to get his ass fired.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Atlanta today, and I mean, I was just surprised because Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta is. I don't say they're a bad team. They're just a very young team. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do. They don't know how to win. They don't know. They don't. I'm be honest. They don't really know how to play many NBA games for the team that they have. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
have a couple of veterans on there, but you don't have enough to say these guys can lead me to some wins. And when your number one scorer is Dennis Schroeder, which is he's a damn good point guard, but he's a point guard. He doesn't need to be your scorer like that.
Right.
So I mean, to me, it was kind of surprising that they lost this game.
I mean, I'm looking at their record right now. They lost to the Magic by 21 at home.
Wow.
They lost to the Nets by 5 on the road. They lost to the Pelicans on the road by 21. They lost to the Knicks at home by 19. They lost to the Pacers at home by 17. So I mean, it's like if they were facing these top echelon teams, like Charles Barkley can say Golden State and Cleveland are bored. He can say that if they want to. The Warriors is conceivable. The Cavaliers is not. I don't care how bored you are. You don't have any business losing to these teams by that many points at home.
I can agree. They shouldn't have lost to Atlanta at home, but
No,
I mean,
I mean it's crazy. I've never seen a LeBron James led team lose by this many points at home this many times. And these are not good teams.
No, not at all. I agree. I agree because I mean you're looking at Washington. They're 5-4. I mean this goes back to what we saying about the NBA is basically upside down right now.
Yeah.
You have Washington 5-4. You have, let's see who else. Even Milwaukee is talented. They are 4-5.
Mm-hmm.
New York is actually 500, which I wouldn't think they would have been. Boston's 8-2, which is I'm not even gonna say that's expected because the Gordon Hayward's out.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually impressive. And what Detroit is doing at 7-3.
Um, One thing to look out for is Andre Drummond shooting 78% from the free throw line.
Wait a
Big ups
minute.
to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that tells me he's worked on that in the offseason.
14 for 16 in the last game I saw.
Okay.
So he's definitely looking to evolve his game and improve his game. That's definitely admirable. I'm looking at the Bulls here. 2-6 is a bit deceptive. Chris Dunn just debuted the other night and they won. So we'll see how they are as a complete team.
Yeah, I haven't watched them yet, and I
Mm-hmm.
should because they do have a couple of good pieces. I like Levine. I like Markin.
Markkanen's
Yeah,
really good.
Markkinen, I like him too. It's like I'm looking at the headline now. They're saying that he's gonna keep the starting job even when Portis comes back, which I don't blame him because Portis only averaged like 5 points a game, and I like him. I like his energy, but I don't see
Mm-hmm.
him really evolving as a basketball player as quick as Markin is.
I try to tell people I think that Minnesota lost that trade, and it's going to take a couple of seasons for people to see it. But me and you have spoken about Jimmy Butler at length and him just not being that player that everybody thinks he is. I pretty much think he's fool's gold when it comes to the playoffs.
I think Jimmy Butler really. I don't know if it was him or his agent or whoever or the coaching staff. They boosted his head up for him to try to be that guy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think when him and Derrick Rose played together and Derrick Rose was actually healthy, they played well together.
Yep.
But the problem was Derrick couldn't stay healthy, so he thought that he could take it all on himself, and you see where that left him. But
Yeah.
when they got rid of him, I think at the end of the day, I thought it was a good move. At first, I didn't, but I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was a good move because of the players they got. Zach LaVine, he's actually improved his game a lot prior to his knee injury.
Yep.
So I mean, he can play as long as he don't be afraid to play off that knee. And Markkinen, he's good. He's a very good player. And you have Chris Dunn, which a lot of people write off, but I think with the team that they have, because they have a lot of big men on their team as far as Chicago goes, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to do everything. So
No, he
I,
doesn't.
I, I think that I think at the end of the day, you may be right. I think they probably won in that trade, but like you said, it may be maybe a year or at the end of the season or maybe even 2 years for them to really see that because even with you know Minnesota at number 3 in the West right now, I'm not sure if they're going to hold on to that because of without Cat, it just seems like they're an up and down team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When they had Levine and Chris Dunn, once they got rid of Rubio, I was sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, Chris Dunn can start at point guard now full time. They have such a great young nucleus with Chris Dunn, Zach Levine. They got Gorgie Jang, and they got Carl Anthony Towns, of course. Andrew Wiggins at the 3. That stabilizes them. Everybody knows their role. Okay, cool. Now Jimmy Butler shows up. I can't even say he's the second best player in the team because he's obviously not better than Cat. I would argue he ain't better consistently than Andrew Wiggins when it comes to playing his role. And definitely when it comes to playoff time, you can't look at this dude and think he's going to be somebody who's going to carry you. I think they lost that trade because with Levine, Carl Anthony Towns, and Wiggins, they had something there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think if they was going to get rid of one or the other, like Wiggins or Levine, they wouldn't have really lost him because you're almost talking about players that are almost identical. They
Mm-hmm.
could have got something back in return that was a little more outside of what they were trying to do. Not necessarily outside, but another piece that was another position.
Right.
You know, because it's like if you're going to get rid of Levine, try to get a big man or something, or you know what I'm saying, or like say
Exactly.
if you want to get rid of like especially if you're going to get rid of Levine and Chris Dunn, get a big man. You
Right.
know, because you don't. I mean, just somebody there just to clog up the lane because Cat, he's too athletic to just be sitting in the paint all the time.
Absolutely.
So it's just if you get a guy like say if they did get Brooke Lopez from the Bulls when they made that trade,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with that because you got somebody who's going to give you, rebounds, blocks, going to give you some foolish fouls that's needed to let other teams know, hey, we're not going in the paint. He going to clothesline the shit out of us.
Oh, Robin Lopez would be great. I mean, I'm looking at Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson fits that team like a glove. But I
You know
think
what? But that's another thing.
Jimmy
I
Butler
forgot.
changes that.
But that's what I even forgot he was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot Taj Gibson. I mean, they got the pieces, but I just forgot. I don't know if they're underutilizing him or what because he fits the team. But then again, I'm not sure if they're going to use him like they could because of Karl Anthony Towns, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that, Taj, we just need you to do this. We don't need you to do what you did in Chicago.
Right, because in their conference right now, you got the Houston Rockets at 8-3, Warriors at 7-3, Timberwolves at 6-3, Grizzlies at 6-3, Spurs at 6-4. I don't know how Pop is doing. I swear I don't. The Clippers are 5-4. They started out really well. They seem to have hit a wall.
But see, that's another thing. When you look at all these teams outside of the Pelicans, most of these teams don't have a big.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a
That's
big
true.
like that. I mean, Zebo is even gone. He's not even with Memphis anymore. So they don't
Well,
really.
the Nuggets, but they don't really have much besides Jokic, who's a
Yeah,
really good young player. Millsap, I think, is sorely overrated, but that's a different topic for a different
I
day.
don't. I watch Millsap. I don't think he's overrated because I know where he came from. You're talking about a guy who averaged nearly coming into league as of his first 3-4 years, averaging like 8, maybe 9 points a game, and he
Mm-hmm.
boosted that up to almost 17 to 20. So I give him props for working his ass off to get to that point, but I don't think he's one of those guys that get the money that he's getting because I think he's getting like what 70 mil or something like that.
And that's part of the reason why I think he's overrated. Because oh wow, Marshawn Lynch breaking away. That's part of the reason why I think he's overrated. People, I think people look at Paul Millsap and I think they look at the improvement and they misjudge that for where he should be put at his position, rated wise. And that's the issue I have with Paul Millsap. Other than that, well, and him flopping all the fucking time. Other than that, I can deal with Paul
I
Millsap.
think I think Paul should have just stayed in Atlanta because he was appreciated in Atlanta.
He
He
would be
had,
the guy right now. I'll tell you
I mean,
that
but not
much.
only that, he had the perfect role for where he is in Atlanta
Hmm.
because they had the money. The only thing with Paul Millsap, what he needed, Paul Millsap need a number one scorer. Like
Hmm.
say for instance, if they was to pull off, and I know this is hindsight, and it would have never happened. Let's just say
Right.
if Atlanta has the money to do it, but if Atlanta did get a Paul George, or if they got a Jimmy Butler, or
Right.
if they got somebody who can score, give you 28, 30 a night, that would have been perfect for Paul because Paul don't have to try to do so much. With that being said, if they would have just had him a number one scorer, and like you said with Dennis Schroeder, you had a pretty nice little nucleus in Atlanta, but they just went totally left with what they're doing, and they didn't respect Paul at the end of the day because he did everything he could to get that team to the playoffs every single year, and for them to just let him walk. I don't see how because it's like when you take care of a team, you expect the team to take care of you, but more
Hmm.
likely that usually happens in the NFL, not the NBA.
Oh, speaking of PG, the Thunder are 4-4 right now, and I'm starting to see what I thought I was going to see,
What's that?
which is a power struggle of sorts. Um, this is a situation where you have three dudes, one of which is, a veteran in the league. He's been in the league for a long time, Carmelo Anthony, who can still ball, but it's like it's to a like these three dudes, like If they were all on separate teams that were like good teams, like they would go deep into the playoffs. But when you put them together, and two of them have to basically be spotting up, doing nothing, based on that offensive system, which I think Billy Donovan has failed them. That offensive system, I think that's where they're having issues because they don't have an offensive genius to make it work where everybody's involved, they get an equal amount of touches, etc., etc. They just really don't have that, and I saw that manifest itself when they were playing the Celtics every night. Celtics came back from 18 and beat them on the road, and it was because OKC, when it came down to it, couldn't get easy shots as a result of the offensive system failing them. I mean, you got three great players, but it's a power struggle now.
I think it sounded good on paper, but from what I'm seeing, I don't think it's a good fit. And
It's not.
I think at the end of the day, Paul George is about to run his ass up out of there.
Oh, hell yeah. But I already knew he was gone. And I think most people knew he was gone. They just thought, in an ideal world, maybe this team could go for a year and try to win a championship. But that's really all this is 1 year for them to stay there and, go there and win some basketball games, stay in shape, and they're going to go their separate ways.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I'm talking about both of them. I don't think Melo resigns either.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, we're looking at a situation where I think LeBron and Carmelo on a collision course. They're eventually going to team up next year. LeBron is not staying in Cleveland based on what I'm looking at. I had him staying in Cleveland before the season started, but looking at how things are going now, even with IT there, I don't think he's staying in Cleveland unless Carmelo or somebody else that he wants to play with comes there. And that's going to be at the expense of a Kevin Love and other people that I think, quite frankly, you won't stick up for if the franchise says, look, LeBron, what can we do to keep you here?
That's what I was about to ask. You think that do you think that team's actually gonna stay together? Because I think that team's gonna be blown all the way up at the end of the season.
Tristan Thompson might get traded before midseason. Kevin Love will be there until the end of the year. They'll probably try to move him. Carmelo will be signed. They'll get a couple other people signed, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a completely new look team. I think IT will still be there. JR, I mean, he'll probably still be there. Jay Crowder will still be there. Jeff Green, the supporting cast. But the main guys, Tristan and Kevin Love, I think you'll see depart after the season or during the season to make room for players that LeBron actually wants to play with. Because right now it seems like, well, and then I can say that, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe Tyronn Lue gets fired and everything's fine. Maybe they find another coach and, things work out. But right now it seems like whatever Tyronn Lue is doing or trying to do to motivate those players, as well as the X's and O's, neither's working.
Right.
Neither's working. I mean, it's just not... It's not working. And I think what it's coming down to is the fact that they don't respect him.
Yeah, I kind of saw that too, especially like throughout the season last year, where when they were having their down part of the season last year, it seemed like they really didn't listen to him at all.
And he's trying to beat respect into them, but you can't beat respect in the pro players when you don't have any type of pedigree for them to respect. I mean, I heard last year in the article, at one point Tyronn Lue told LeBron to shut the fuck up. That's fine. He can tell LeBron to shut the fuck up. It's cute. It's not going to do anything for his job. It's not going to do anything to motivate the players. So it's a situation where Tyronn Lue is trying so hard to garner that respect. LeBron is still the coach on the court. You could argue he's the fucking GM, the way this shit's been going. Look at that team, how stacked it is. When LeBron gets things clicking, with the rest of these players, they'll be fine, but I think Tyronn Lue is stunning the growth of that team based on the fact that they don't respect him. And the X's and O's part of it, is, well, I can't even say X's and O's. It's more so the lineup he's putting out. The lineup he's putting out there is
Right.
just not a very smart lineup. They can't run small against these teams like they think they can. It's just not going to work
No,
defensively.
no, and I think a lot of teams are starting to figure that out, and I think they figured it out early because,
Yeah.
like I mean, like they were saying earlier, I think D Wade said it, like nobody's afraid of them. Like no,
No.
people are just rolling up on them and just
Yeah.
just playing ball against them.
Because these teams have retooled. Everybody in the NBA has pretty much retooled. The landscape has changed. This is not a two-team league anymore,
No,
and it's not a one-team conference anymore. The Celtics came in, and after Gordon Hayward got hurt in that game, they were still hitting Cleveland in the mouth. They're not scared of them.
no, not at all. And that just makes me think about the landscape of the NBA. I don't know what's going to happen, but it makes me think about it like what's who's going to come out of where, because Houston and Golden State is looking good right now, and right now between those two, they look like they're the only surefire team. Even Boston, I just don't know how long they can sustain what they have because of the personnel. So I just don't know, I'm not even looking at Detroit and Orlando right now. They definitely have to show me more. So
I see a situation where Cleveland, like I said, is going to make a move that brings them back to the championship, and I think it's going to be for Boogie Cousins. I don't see AD and Boogie staying together for the longevity of the season. I just don't see it happening. They can coexist. They can play together. I have no doubt about that. I just think the Pelicans, I doubt they believe that.
no,
And
if the Pelicans were smart, they could be able to get rid of one of them, get better assets, because just those two together is almost like overkill. I'm not sure if it's enough to just even win games. I mean,
nah,
just because the names sound great together, but
hmm
the problem is that is the problem.
it's handcuffing your team.
Yeah, everything else around it is like, well, what else?
Yeah, so I mean, I can see that happening. There will be some big moves happening, no doubt. That will, further alter the landscape of the NBA. But when you come down to it, LeBron will make it to the finals again, barring something catastrophic happening in the playoffs, and Golden State will make it to the finals again, barring something catastrophic. I just don't see them suffering a letdown right now against anybody in the West. Not in the 7-game series. They're kind of like the Spurs now. They have a system in place that works. They have players who accept their role, and when you have that, and two superstars, you can't. You don't get any better than that. You can pretty much sleepwalk through games, and in the fourth quarter, wake up and be down 14 and say, "All right, well, I guess we're gonna start playing now." And it works. So that's what I see happen. The only team that could probably run interference would be Washington, and I just don't think Washington has enough to run interference on Cleveland right now.
Right. I can agree with that. I totally can agree with that. I don't know what else you could talk about as far as the NBA goes, NFL. I guess we could jump into that, or we can jump into video games. Either one that you want to talk to. I guess since it's sports,
Yeah,
right now we can continue to just jump into the NFL.
yeah. Winners and losers would be a good topic right about now, especially it being the end of the night, of another day of football. So.
Uh,
Yeah, you could start it off if you have one in
no,
your mind. I already have one.
really, when you're looking at we're pretty much at the halfway point of the NFL right now. A lot of teams have played
Hmm
8 or 9 games. I
Yep.
think we're at week 9 right now. Week 18 is usually the last week of the season. And right now I'm looking at the AFC right now, and you got Pittsburgh at 6-2, New England 6-2. As far as winners and losers, you have the usual suspects still. I really don't need to name them. You got Cleveland still not doing good. Cincinnati's doing bad. Uh,
Man, loser of the year are the Giants. You can just give it to them every week.
well, I didn't jump to the NFC yet, but since you
Oh
said
well,
it,
I'm
that
just
makes
thinking
sense.
about
I'm
losers
not.
in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I'm not disagreeing. But I mean,
Uh,
really, another team, Oakland. Oakland looks like a team that should have been really good this year, and they're doing absolutely nothing right now. As we speak, they're playing the Miami Dolphins, and they're winning right now. But still, uh, to me, it's just they're not up to par. You're talking about a team that could have possibly won the Super Bowl last year if not of injury of Derek Carr. But still, you would expect them to bounce back, especially with Marshawn Lynch to be a little bit better. But I don't see
I
it.
think they're getting things going with Marshawn here. They're running on a pretty good front seven. I'm watching here. Their only problem is going to be the defense
Yeah, I can agree.
because I'm looking at this offense. It's pretty good. Marshawn's having probably his best game of the season. Had a long run before, and like I said, it played a pretty good front seven, so that's encouraging. They can get on a little bit of a roll here. I wouldn't put it past them to win a couple road games with Derek Carr at the helm, so I'm not too worried about them right now.
But they're
Um,
they're 3-5. I mean,
nah, yeah, I feel you, but I'm saying this schedule, I don't think progressively gets harder. I think it gets a little bit easier after New England.
yeah, I can
So
agree. I can agree. And I mean, so it's like you have usual suspect. Jacksonville is actually doing pretty good. I'm not going to call them a winner, but they are improving. Tennessee and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, man, I hate teams like Jacksonville because you don't know what to think, like week to week.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly, I agree. And then you have Buffalo just wet the bed against the Jets. Um,
Oh, boy, did they ever. I mean,
yeah,
Kelvin Benjamin's a big signing, but shit,
he
they
didn't
need
even
him on the
play.
field ASAP. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah,
They
he
need him
didn't
on
even
the field
play.
ASAP.
So that was kind of a yeah. Even without Kelvin Benjamin, you would think they would be able to do something because they've been playing pretty good football throughout the year. You would think they would have beat the Jets. I'm thinking who else. I don't
Um,
see anything else that stands out in the AFC side. I'm gonna look at a
the
couple of games real quick.
the
Denver, yeah,
Titans.
Titans look good today. Denver's falling off big time. But that's
Trevor
most.
Simeon coming back down to earth.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, he hasn't even played this last game. He didn't play today, and he's just terrible. He was
He
terrible.
got benched.
Yeah, he got benched. Brock Osweiler played today.
Bum ass Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, exactly. And he rightfully so. He should have got benched because of what happened the other game. I mean, he was
Hmm.
absolutely horrible.
Oh yeah. Going to AFC, I'm looking now. I mean, the Eagles are 8-1, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think they're any better than the Cowboys right now.
No,
Like from
but but
watching them.
but I mean, the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys themselves, they actually had an impressive win today, and I'm actually
Oh yeah.
that was good for them because with the Eagles, possibly people could still say the Eagles are running away with the division as long as Dallas continue to do what they're doing. They're right in the thick of it because they haven't played the Eagles twice yet. They still play the Eagles twice,
Oh yeah.
and I mean the main thing with them is Philly looks good, but I'm not just not going to say they're a runaway because Dallas tends to play Philly fairly well every year. And if Ezekiel continues to play, that just added more fuel to the fire as far as how well they can be. Because a lot of people saying Zeke's not playing, that could be a big difference. It possibly can, but you got to understand they have two good running backs that actually can give them at least 80 to 90 yards, and in some cases, that's actually good enough. You know,
Man.
that's good enough for them to win games. They don't have to lean on that because of the way that Dallas has been playing overall. They've been doing okay.
And I'll say this: who wants to run into St. Louis, or I should say L.A.?
Yeah, see, that's the team that I'm talking about. A lot of people want to talk about the Eagles. I mean, they're a flashy team. They're looking good right now. Carson Wentz is a sexy pick to look at, and a sexy quarterback to look at for people. But
Hmm.
nobody's really talked about Jared Goff. That kid right there is probably in. He's probably in line to being the most improved player of the year, easily,
Yeah.
easily. Because Carson Wentz wasn't bad last year, so it's like, okay, Carson Wentz is just progressing. Jared Goff was awful last year. And
Hmm.
it wasn't even close. People were about to call him
That goddamn Jeff Fisher, man.
exactly.
I will continue to rash that man because I saw the talent of Jared Goff and that offensive line. It was criminal. That offensive line he put him out there with, and Todd Gurley. I can say the same about him. It was criminal the offensive line they put him out there with.
Yeah, and I think Todd Gurley, he didn't run for 100 yards today, but for him to be, 59 yards rushing
Yeah,
with
he's been
another,
steady.
yeah, but with another 45 yards receiving, I mean, you can't ask for more with out of Todd Gurley because a lot of people don't know Todd Gurley's 6'2", 230, but he can catch the ball as well.
I'll
You
tell
know,
you what, the Seahawks after that Luke Joko trade, they're looking pretty good right now. I can't even like if the Seahawks get back to doing what they do well, which is running the ball.
they
Um,
can't run the ball though. They don't have that. I mean, the line is not bad, but it's not good either.
I think. I
The
mean,
line has gotten better. I'll put it that way.
I mean, as long as Eddie Lacy's fat ass ain't out there, Thomas Rawls needs to be starting. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but when they get him back, if he is hurt, and they start running the ball, Russell Wilson doesn't have to throw the ball 35 times per game. I think they're gonna be pretty good, man.
Oh, they just lost to Washington, which is a letdown.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins had
Let me look at that. Let me look at that
another
real quick.
little, you know, situation where his receivers were bailing him out, but
Yeah, I'm about to let's see if I can pull these stats up and find out how well did he do. Um, he's not too bad. 21 for 31, 247, no touchdown, no picks. Possibly receivers bailed him. I didn't watch the game. I mean, if DJ was here,
well, I heard it from DJ.
yeah, I
So
was about to say if DJ was here, he would know better than I would. But
right,
Vernon Davis is the top receiver. They didn't have no running game. Their top runner ran for 20 yards.
yeah, the Niners are
They
4-9.
can't do that. They can't do that. Russell Wilson, he's running for his life as usual.
Yep.
He's the top passer at 297, and he's the leading rusher at 77. That right there is going to kill them in the playoffs. They cannot play like that. They're going to have to get a running game from somewhere else.
Yo, why is nobody talking about the Vikings being 6-2? I didn't even know they were.
That's another sleeper team, and with the fact that they don't have their quarterback or their running back, and the way that they're playing, that could be a sleeper team because
Man,
they lean on their defense a lot, but defense win championships. So
well, I'm kind of looking at the schedule here. They really haven't beat anybody that's good.
let me see. They play Buffalo. Buffalo's pretty decent.
Um,
I mean, they wet the bed last week, but they,
without the preseason, I'm looking at.
Oh, these are preseason. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the saying
Okay, they beat the
they beat the
Saints.
Vikings. Yeah, they got whooped by the Steelers. Buccaneers are up and down. Lions beat them.
They beat the Lions close, so I could say, for instance, they probably could beat Detroit next time they play them. Possibly.
They beat the Packers by double digits, so I can give them that. Yeah,
Wasn't that the game that Aaron Rodgers got hurt?
the 15th.
I'm just asking. I don't know. Is that the game that he got hurt?
Maybe.
I'm looking to see. I'm looking at the stats. Yeah, he got hurt that game. 2 for 4 for 18 yards. Brett Hundley came in and played the
So I
rest.
can't even give them that then. I mean, uh, fool's gold to me, but
Possibly, yeah. It's possible it's fool's gold.
oh my God, the Saints are fucking 6-2. What is going on right now? I need to pay more attention to the NFC because
I don't.
the Buccaneers
I
are
don't.
2-6. What is going on?
Yeah, the
bro?
Buccaneers are 2-6, but the Saints are 6-2. But I'm not. I'm not sold on the Saints just yet.
I'm definitely not. And the Panthers are 6-3. How? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I'm not
That
sold on.
secondary is
Yeah,
garbage.
I'm not sold on either one. Yeah, and the secondary is garbage, and they could have been. They were torched for the most part this game against Atlanta, which I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that the Atlanta lost, but just to goes to show, look at the stats. You look at Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan goes for 24 for 38, 313, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, the secondary still still is a problem in Carolina. But the fact when you look at the other part of the NFC South, you have the Atlanta Falcons who just cannot execute their game plan. And it's just fucking horrible the way that they're playing. And I don't see them making it far in the playoffs. I mean,
No.
I'm not even far in the playoffs. I don't even see them possibly not even making the playoffs. They're 4-4 right now. They're on a path to probably be 7-9 or 6-10 right now, the way they're playing. You look at the rest of their schedule. Their schedule is pretty rough. If you look at the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Panthers, and I could honestly see a team that gets hot and makes another run, especially if they have a home game in the playoffs. but we're gonna see if they beat out the Saints or not. I mean, I think the Saints are eventually gonna fall off. I don't know who they've played or what is going on with that because um, I thought when they were trading away Adrian Peterson, it was gonna be a situation where okay, we're trading him away because we don't really think we have a chance this year, but they traded him away and got better, which just proves he doesn't really fit them. It boggles my mind why he was signed there in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. But when you speak about Adrian Peterson, um, I think he found new life.
hell yeah.
Have you seen what he's done lately?
Oh yeah, he's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, I had to pause for a second to think about that, but he had like 37 catches, you know. I mean, not 37 catches, 37 carries. And he ran for like 150 or something like that.
Workhorse.
Yeah, I'm trying to look right now. I'm looking at the stats.
Man, him and David Johnson, don't let them
Yeah,
sneak into the playoffs. Good
yeah, well,
lord.
37. He had 37 carries for 159. I mean, that's
Too bad his quarterback's gonna throw away the fucking game when it gets to the playoffs. Sorry ass Carson Palmer.
yeah. Drew Stanton played today.
Thank
I'm
God.
not even gonna go there about his numbers. His numbers are terrible.
I'll take Drew Stanton over. Well, let me shut up.
15 to 30, 201, two touchdowns, one pick. Actually, for Drew Stanton, that's not bad. But and when you compare that to the rest of the league, it's terrible.
I mean, you got Josh McCown out here slinging it. So.
Right. Now you have you look at well, we're not even gonna talk about San Francisco.
Man, that 0-9.
Yeah,
God.
any other team you want to talk about before we move on?
Hold on. The one reason I want to talk about San Francisco is because everybody was talking about Kyle Shanahan as like this offensive genius, and for two things. Okay, first off, the Patriots trading Jimmy Garoppolo and then signing Brian Hoyer is a fucking slap in the face. Secondly, the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is on San Francisco now and probably won't even be re-signed
Mm-hmm.
shows that San Francisco really doesn't give a fuck about this season. The issue is if you go 0-16 or 1-15 or 2-14, like why would Kirk Cousins want to go there? Money or not?
Yeah, I could agree with that, but
I mean, it's like okay, if Washington doesn't let's say Washington doesn't re-sign him, then Kirk Cousins still has other options of where to go. Like San Francisco could be looking at a situation where they're bad for the next 5-6 years
right.
if their plan doesn't work out. Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy. I don't believe he is, at least. He definitely wasn't here. There were rumors that Tom Brady was going to be traded at the end of the season, and also there were rumors he's going to be traded in the fucking offseason. John Lynch even inquired about him after they weren't going to trade him Garoppolo originally. That's something to look forward to in the offseason as well, is the whole situation with Tom Brady. But, yeah, I mean, God, San Francisco is going to be ass for the next 5 or 6 years if this doesn't work out. If this Kirk Cousins sweepstakes doesn't pan out.
You think they should go for Kirk Cousins?
Hell no.
What you
I
think?
don't think Kirk Cousins is that guy. Kirk Cousins is in a perfect spot right now. He has a quarterback. He has a coach that puts him in the best situations to win because he's really the only player that coach respects because he's a fraud. Jay Gruden coddles Chris, what the fuck's his name? Jay Gruden coddles Kirk Cousins to the point where even when Kirk Cousins has a bad game, the Washington fans remember how much they hate RG3, and they make excuses for Kirk Cousins because it's like, oh, well, at least RG3 isn't here, so we can defend Kirk Cousins like all day, and then they choose to blame everybody else. They never blame Jay Gruden. It's like Kirk Cousins just.
I think the San Francisco 49ers should just go ahead and get Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I think they should just get. They should have never got Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, it's fine, but put Baker Mayfield out there and make them work for a job. Now, and personally, I think Baker Mayfield will win it because he just has that it factor. He has that swag. He has that winning mentality about him. And on top of that, he's a gunslinger, but he's a careful one, if that makes sense. He's not the type of guy that'll throw the ball and just crazy throw it. But when he throws it,
No, he's like a Matt Stafford type.
yeah, he'll get it where it needs to go. Exactly. Perfect example of him. Yeah, perfect example. Perfect
Yeah.
analysis. And I think that's what they should do. Just go in and get Baker Mayfield, and in the further rounds, try to get you maybe another receiver. Hell, probably even get you another defensive anchor and just hold it there and just build off that.
Okay, so it seems like they are on, on pace to be the worst team in the league. So you're taking Mayfield first? Would you trade out of the first pick overall?
It depends on what other teams want, but if you got the number one overall pick right now, I don't see why not get Baker Mayfield. But if
Because
you
what I'm
could,
looking
but
at is if,
if you could trade back and still get him and get more pieces of more picks, I don't see why not.
because what I'm looking at is the Browns might end up wanting to trade up if they want a quarterback. They might take Sam Darnold, or
No, no.
I'm
Sam Donald's nice, but I think Baker Mayfield is. I ain't gonna say he's more NFL ready
no,
because.
I agree, but I'm saying what the Browns would probably do.
Oh, he said the Browns. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what the Browns would probably do would be if they want to draft quarterback, they probably draft Sam Darnold first. We're gonna see how high or low his stock ends up. But if he kind of picks it up towards the end of the season, USC has any type of decent showing, he'll probably end up going first. And then it's gonna be a situation where, okay, if you trade down, like let's see if you could get a couple of picks in the top 10 where you can kind of put yourself in the situation for the future to, get better. Because I think they need more than Baker Mayfield at this point. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
no, I think they do too. But that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
If it just depends on what other teams are going to do
yeah,
because you're looking at a situation where it's possible that they could just be a coin flip for the first overall pick. It could be number one and number two, but
right.
I would honestly say that San Francisco needs Mayfield over Donald.
No, I agree, but I mean,
And I
let's
say
say,
if they can go back to, let's say, if they can move back in the draft and get number 7 and get a second rounder, for another second round pick for the same draft, I don't see why not. You get Baker Mayfield and you get a couple more players in the second or third round.
man, they might be able to trade Jimmy Garoppolo and get the Browns pick in the first round, and they might be able to get Saquon Barkley and Baker
You
Mayfield.
really think they could? You really think they could? I mean, with the Browns, no telling.
Because I'm looking at what the Rams did a couple of years ago, and the way they maneuvered in the draft. And the Browns did it as well, but it's a situation where if there's a quarterback out there that you have, and he can be traded to a team that needs a quarterback, and maybe they don't necessarily want to draft one if he's that guy and he's available, Jimmy Garoppolo might be that guy. And I think the only reason they got him is because they want to use him as trade bait. Why? Which is why it's interesting to me. I think that they. Oh wow. Are you watching this Raiders?
No. I just happened to look up. I was looking at a link that I was looking at. I just happened to look up. I missed it.
This lineman recovered a fumble after Derek Carr got stripped, and then somebody came and took his knee out, and he fumbled. It should look like a Madden play. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So it's a situation where if they can trade, Jimmy Garoppolo for a first round pick, like one of those high ones, which I doubt, but if they could, I mean, you're looking at a situation where San Francisco might be sitting pretty in a couple of years based on the level of talent that's in this draft this year.
Well, yeah, I see where you're coming from. The Dominican
Yeah,
Sue's down.
yeah, I saw.
Oh, he's up. Okay, I must be a little bit behind you. All right. I mean, so we talked about a good bit of just sports in general. what's up with these video games going on? What have you been playing lately?
Um, I've been playing. I've been playing Madden. I've been enjoying it. My All Pro sliders are pretty enjoyable. Play a little bit of NHL. 2K. I haven't really touched in a few days. Been playing WWE 2K18. That game is amazing.
I've still been thinking about getting that game.
It's
Um,
pretty fun.
for me,
It's,
yeah, I've been really been looking into it because
mhm.
I haven't played a wrestling game since the N64. That is so long ago, and
They got plenty of the old school wrestlers on there for you. That's all I can tell you.
yeah, okay. So
Like half the damn roster.
I might look into it, man, because I've been wanting to get into wrestling. But as far as sports, man, I mean, I think I put this out on Twitter. I have no sport. I got one sports game on my PS4, and that's unless if you want to count the racing games,
Hmm.
I have Roy McIlroy golf, and I haven't really played, but I just left it on there just because I may want to play a golf game.
Right.
Um, I went back and I've been playing my games, all my sports titles on my PlayStation 3. And the reason why I've been playing a lot of NCAA 14, and I got a couple of draft classes on there that I want to use. So I went back to play Madden 25.
Hmm.
Same thing with the college game with the NCAA basketball 10. I've been trying to play that or College Hoops 2K8 because I'm a big fan of college sports games. I've been a big fan of it for years, and I just can't stay away from it even when I have been playing on the current gen consoles. So I went back. I played NCAA basketball 10. I've been doing pretty good in that.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get into the Final Four tournament, and it just made me. I was like, well, if you're having this fun with a basketball game, try NBA Live 10. Because, I mean, those games are basically the same game. Same thing with NCAA 14 and Madden 25. If I'm liking those games, the college games, why not play the professional ones? And for the most part, like I said, all of them are identical to each other. So
Hmm.
that's where I've been at as far as the sports titles. As far as the off sports titles, I've been playing. I have a crazy backlog. I have a backlog for almost probably about 60 games.
Right.
I have a really big backlog, and I need to tackle that backlog. I finished two games this past week. I'm starting two more. Starting tonight. Once I get settled in and finally want to cut on the game. Um, so that's where I am. I mean, I do play my other recreational games, my racers or whatever, and I'll dig in with the sports games every now and then. I haven't been touching them as much. I just been really getting into my backlog. But
Hmm.
as far as like these current gen games, it's like we talked about it the other day. I think Madden 18, maybe 19, will probably be the last sports title that will give you a really good single player offline experience. I think with the model where everything is going is like money, money, money. And I would not be surprised in the long run where you see, CFM or something like that actually monetized. And I'm not sure. I don't think I want to go and deal with that and go that route. So I'm just
Wow.
gonna I'm sticking with what I know is faithful to me. I know when I
Hmm.
play my sports titles on my PlayStation 3, I know I don't have to deal with that. I mean, I'm not necessarily worrying about patches or too much. I can get around a patch or two. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, me and you discuss how to get around patches easily.
Right.
It's not that. It's just a model of current games are going in general, and I don't think that sports titles are sacred. I think that's going to leak into that eventually as well. So I think we have maybe one more year of pretty decent offline play until they try to really sink in and throw a lot of BS towards us. So but as far as the state of game, I don't have a problem with the state of game, and it's cool. Games are great. I mean, Madden is still a very good game. I don't have a problem with Madden 18. I have a problem with 2K18. I think at the end of the day, when you look at me per se, I'm a college sports gamer before I'm any other one. I'll play a college game before I play any of them. And if I want to play a professional game, like I said, Madden 25 is just like 14, and the Live 10 is just like NCAA 10.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly I can't say the same thing about NBA 2K8 because College Hoops 2K8 is great, but NBA 2K8 is fucking terrible. So it's like I don't know what to do with that. So I kind of just stayed away from College Hoops 2K. You know I like it, I just stayed away
Yeah.
from it. So that's my thing. I want to get Call of Duty World War II. I know you've touched into it. What are your thoughts about that so far?
I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the campaign, definitely. It's a new experience to have to use first aid kits to recover versus just running, into cover and waiting for the screen to clear up. It's not how it is anymore. If you get yourself in trouble now, you have to get a first aid kit. If you run out of first aid kits, you're gonna die. It's pretty much how it is. That makes it very realistic. It's the same thing in multiplayer. I haven't touched online yet since the servers were jammed to the brims and they went down yesterday. So I've basically been playing against bots, kind of trying to get the feel of the game. Because that's really the only multiplayer, ish that I can play. But yeah, overall I like it. Oh, and the game is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that game looks great. It looks really, really good.
It
So,
looks even better than Battlefield 1. I couldn't believe I was saying that, but it looks even better than Battlefield 1.
well, I can believe that too because when I saw the trailer of World War II and they were saying that was in-game gameplay or
Mm-hmm.
in-game footage, I was like, wow, that looks great. But that's one
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about Call of Duty. Call of Duty never really lagged on graphics.
No.
Even when you go back and look at Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360, those games look
Mm-hmm.
great.
Oh, yeah.
World at War, Call of Duty 3, Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, Black Ops, they all looked really good at the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at Advanced Warfare, Ghost, even though Ghost was lackluster, Ghost was a pretty good game.
Right.
So,
Um,
it's, you know,
yeah.
I'm not really worried about that too much.
I'm just
So,
worried about them putting out another game that's like boots on the ground for the next game, but not so much going back to the World War II era. Like, get us a current gen military shooter. That's what I'm waiting for. Another Battlefield 4 type game. I understand going back in time is cool, but I'm more of a Battlefield 4 type player.
well, I think what Call of Duty is doing, I think they are going to end up going to current. I think they're just starting backwards and going forward again. They're probably
Right.
they're probably reinventing the wheel like they did back on the 360, which personally
Yeah.
I don't think is a good idea, but I understand it. I see why they're doing that.
Hmm.
Battlefield, I heard they're probably going futuristic. I was talking to my nephew.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
I was talking to my nephew, and he was talking about that they may do another Battlefield 2142, which is going to be the
Oh
sequel, be
my
Battlefield
God.
2143, and I'm not a big fan of that at all.
Hell
I just
no.
think they just need to go ahead and make a Battlefield 5 and just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because Battlefield 4 to this day is still an amazing game.
Right.
It's still great. I mean, I was playing it the other day on my PC, and I'm like, people are still out here playing this game like it's the new thing to do. So
Yeah.
I'm really loving that, and that game is getting to the point where it's hard to see where people will honestly let it go that easily because there's so much
Hmm.
content still in that game. I mean,
Yeah.
the best thing that they can do at this point, since it's been out for a while, just go ahead and give all the content that was on premium, just give it out for free at this point. The game's been out for 4 years now. Just give out
Yeah.
all the premium content for free now. I mean, it's been long enough. Just give it to everybody and watch how many people will go back and play it.
Right. I mean, we got enough futuristic stuff between Titanfall and
Which
these
is
last couple Call of Duties. I mean,
another good game that people don't really play enough.
Titanfall 2 is pretty good. I
Yeah,
gotta re-download it.
yeah. That I ended up beating that game this week too. I beat Titanfall 2 and I finally beat God of War Ascension. When that game just been on and off in my book. I had that game since 2013. I finally beat it, and
Hmm.
it just been on and off. I want to play it and I don't, but I finally beat that.
Yeah, I
But
see people playing this new Assassin's Creed 2. I'm not gonna take the bait with that one. I'm just gonna go ahead and stay away from it, even though I'm sure it's a pretty good game. I
I
just
I just
feel
never
watchable. rinse, repeat with it.
I've never been Assassin's Creed fan. I've never played. I played them, but I never got into them. Never
Yeah,
got into them. So it's just
yeah. I mean,
that's just not my thing. Everybody's saying it's a great game. It looks great. It's gonna look good on the Xbox One X. I can care less. I haven't even played the first one. I got them. I got a few of them on my PS3. A matter of fact, I got Assassin's Creed One on 360. It's just sitting because I say I want to play it, but then again I'm like, all right, I'm not putting it in there because it just doesn't do anything for me.
yeah. Speaking of Xbox One X, I think I'm gonna sit out the first week. I'm not gonna pre-order it. I'm gonna,
I think that's gonna be a birthday gift for me next month because I said I was gonna get it, but
yeah.
I was like, yeah, because you get the system, but it's nothing for me to play. I mean, I'll play Forza, but
All right, I can wait because I can wait for Forza at this point. I have enough games to play on a PS4 where Forza isn't really a necessity right now. But I mean, as a Christmas gift, yeah, I could definitely see it.
yeah, definitely. And I think with the Black Fridays coming up, I think you're gonna have a lot of um, you're gonna have a lot of deals, and probably gonna have a few deals on the Xbox One X. So I wouldn't and not only Black Friday, maybe around Christmas time, you're probably gonna have a deal on it too. So I'm not really pressed on like, oh my God, I gotta get this right away. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
Oh,
waiting.
by the way, not really a big deal, but I played Madden the other day after that 4K patch. Holy shit, does that game look breathtaking now?
Oh yeah, yeah. That game looks really good.
I mean, if you play a game that's like partly cloudy at 415, which I think is like the default setting, man, that lighting is crazy in Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing about Madden 18. The visuals they've done a very good. I mean, not only the visuals, the gameplay is really good, and
Oh
the
yeah.
game gets a lot of flack for what it is. And I know there's some BS happening in the game. I mean, Madden still run on that same engine, is no
Hmm.
doubt. But at the end of the day, you can get a pretty decent game of football out of that game. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you see all the stuff that's been going on with Madden, the clips of people showing all kind of stuff. I ain't gonna say half, more than half of that stuff has been online stuff, and the rest of the stuff have been, just been regular bugs. I mean, it's just gonna happen. I mean, your favorite game is gonna have the bugs. Not to say that I'm, white knighting for it. I just call a spade a spade.
Right.
Does game have problems? Yes. What game don't? But then again, I don't think it's to the point where, oh my God, the game is just dumpster diving, dumpster fire, dumpster
Right.
trash. It's like
Yeah.
honestly, since Madden 25, the game has been fairly playable. My only knock was when Madden 15 came out, and the guys act like they didn't want to tackle; they just ran into each other and fell over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying Madden 18 more than any Madden I've played since Madden 04, to be honest. Like, that's just how good the gameplay is to me. Now that I've got this all-pro slider set, I mean, the game, it has so many great animations, and, the logic is back in the game as far as, like, offensive line play, and now you got the reads that the DBs are making in zones are really nice. You get punished for forcing throws into areas where you're not supposed to throw. You get punished for not you know covering the ball up with certain players. So I mean, the game is really good, and I'm enjoying it. So same with 2K18.
I mean,
I mean, all my
but
sports fans for the most
like I
part.
said, at the end of the day, if you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. People call
Right,
you this, that, and the third for playing the damn game. I mean, that's their problem.
right.
You know? Because, I mean, people used to try to get on me all the time. It's like, oh, why are you playing that game? Why are you playing the old game? It's like, look, I'm at home. I'm playing my game in my house. What I play really don't matter to you at the end of the day. If you don't like it, that's your problem.
Right.
But I'm not about to tell you no bullshit and tell you I'm playing a bad game. It's a good game to me, and that's all that really matters. So it's like, I don't get it, but I just leave it alone because at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I want to do.
I mean, it's the culture this community has created across the board, and it's sometimes I just got to step away from it, especially on Twitter. It's just
And I think that's one of the
gets to
reasons.
be annoying.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it is one of the reasons why I haven't played any current sports titles. Is because of I just don't want to be around that. There's some positive people around and it's great, but for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna, just do my own thing.
Hmm.
And me doing my own thing is just gonna be play the games I want to play and just leave it at that. Um, I mean, for gaming, it's still a good time to be a gamer. It's always a good time to be a gamer. I'm
Definitely.
always enjoying myself when I do play my games or whatever. Have no issue when I have no issue when it comes to any games that I play. So I'm good with that. So I have no issue. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Any other topic you want to talk about real quick before we wrap it up? Because I think we covered everything pretty well.
Nah, man, that's about it. Um, I guess the topic in the comment section can be if y'all are gonna pick up UFC 3. We saw the trailer released this weekend. We didn't get to really dive into it because I know VF isn't really a UFC fan or UFC gaming fan
Nah,
like
but
that.
I did see that bald head girl knock that girl out though.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, this has been episode 15, and we're still going strong.
Yeah, we trucking along, keeping it moving. Can't complain about any of that. So,
Oh yeah, it's been
um,
a pleasure to bring y'all commentary throughout this NFL season, and trust me, the commentary on the NFL will only get more interesting as we whittle these teams down towards playoff time and start to talk about some, front runners for awards and things of that nature. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, because I think once we get down into the nitty gritty of it, and the season start to wind down, we can give our own takes and our own personal rewards to players
Oh
and
yeah.
teams and what they done and what they didn't do, and maybe we can come up with a title for those some set awards, and maybe we can get, like I said, get the people who viewing or listening to this podcast involved and see how that goes. I'm all for that.
Oh, definitely. We could definitely do a couple of polls, on Twitter and discuss them when we get inside of the podcast and talk about, some unique awards that we could come up with that, go further than just the NFL awards. And I mean, pretty sure we could end up doing the same thing for the NBA down the road. But yeah, I mean, we got some big things planned for y'all. Y'all just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, I mean that's what I want to continue to try to push um more content to our viewers. I mean, even though the ones who loyal and continue to come by, we want to try to spice it up and make things good for
Hmm.
our the people who do support the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So I'm all for that. Absolutely. I'm trying to think anything that I want to add to. I really can't think of anything I want to add. It's like we talked about gaming, we talked about sports. I'm pretty much good at what we pretty much good with what we covered. I am thoroughly impressed with the LA Rams overall. When you look at the landscape of the NFL, whoever is the coach there needs to get possibly coach of the year right now, easily,
Oh
because
yeah.
nobody saw that coming out of nowhere. And as far as college, um, we can talk about Miami looking really good for coach of the year, and you possibly could look at UCF. They're undefeated at number 14 as far as a really good situation there they got going on. So I'm pretty much good. I can we be ready to close out as far as the surprises that I have. If I want to add anything else to it, those are my two right there.
Yeah, I
So
mean, pretty much. I mean, yeah, the Giants suck. Uh, they're really
man,
bad.
they're terrible, yo.
They are one of the worst football teams I've seen in a long time.
I
Um,
mean, you kind of expect it out of the Browns and the
right.
49ers to an extent. You can expect it, but the Giants, the beginning of the season, you could have said that they could have been leading this division easily.
Easily. I mean, this is one of the biggest disappointments I can remember in years, as far as like you know how a team turns out compared to how people thought they were going to turn out. I
And,
mean, this
and
early on.
and then on top of that, Janoris Jenkins got suspended or something like that.
Yeah. So
Exactly. So, we're just gonna go ahead and close it out. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's not as long as our usual. Well, I didn't say usual. Our last few podcasts, but we got everything across, and we pretty much covered everything. If you like, you know what to do. Thumbs up. If you're not, thumbs down. Appreciate all the support, and we try to keep it, you know, at our level where we just talk about our sports and sports gaming, and just keep it at that.
amen.
Hopefully throughout the rest of the, by the end of the month, we can talk more gaming because everything is pretty much kind of leveled off. So, but
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side of that, we got sports to talk about, and we have a lot more divisional games in the NFL. The college playoffs going to wind down, and the NBA is going to continue to get more interesting. So, we're going to bring all of that to you guys.
Yep.
And with that being said, we are out. You guys take care. Peace.
Peace.